Hello, mate. Got something for you.
Not again. What is this? This is your life. Great. And an envelope. Brilliant. Mackenzie, this is your life. Looks like it. You must now document your entire life from birth to the age of 16 in the home counties. Brilliant. Guess what then? Looks like we're going down south, doesn't it? What's this all about? Cheers, guys. So welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a slightly different documentary to what we're used to. This is indeed the documentary of my life. Oh yes. So without further ado, let's hand over to me, live at the very place where my life started worryingly over 30 years ago. Check this out. So ladies and gentlemen, this is where it all started, way back in 1985. It was a beautiful summer's day, the same as it is today, and it was August the 31st at about 12:49 in the morning when I was born, in that very block right behind me. Yeah, A&E used to be here, it's now moved to the QA in Cosham, but this is where my life started, and spent the first 5 months of my life in this very place in an incubator, but that's another story for later on in today's show. So this is it, guys. Come and join me on a magical mystery tour all around the home counties, where I'll be telling you all about my life from the age of birth right through to 16. Let's do this. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen, that is how my life started. As you heard, unfortunately spent time in an incubator due to not being fed, nourished or being looked after properly. That led to me being adopted, ladies and gentlemen, which led me to this area where I lived literally slap bang in the middle of a forest. You may think that's a bit weird, but you can hear the birds. You can tell all around here is nothing but trees apart from a small little village in that direction. This is Bentley, ladies and gents, and that way is Alice Holt Forest. So I sound out of breath, by the way, folks. We were just on a massive trek all the way through the forest just to get here. You might think I'm lying, but on those opening credits earlier on, you would have seen the gate that we walked through from that forest to get here. It's mad. So it's now time to show you the route from this very train station to the house where I lived in for the first 12 years of my life. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Linden TV's life. Here we go. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have just seen my childhood home, which unfortunately has been changed beyond all recognition from when I was a kid. Obviously, houses never really do stay the same, do they? But this is it, ladies and gentlemen. This is the house, or the road, where I grew up on. Back in days gone by, there was a massive farmhouse on my right, a weird little bungalow here on the left, and also down that alleyway we're going to go down shortly. That is where I used to walk my way home every afternoon when I finished school at Weydon. So why are we here? Well, because, believe it or not, it's a nice quiet street where I had friends in this house here, I had friends in the houses behind you, and also friends right at the top of the street. But not only that, teachers from my school, which weirdly, like I said, it's only 8 miles down the road. Teachers from my school lived on this very street. I had one way back down the bottom of the road, and another one just up here by the monkey puzzle tree behind me. But not only that, I had my best friend lived on the main road, over literally there, we'll show you that shortly. But also, I had my scout leader also on this very street. What I said to you earlier on about having teachers who really do nurture you and really do care about you, the same is true about her. Because even after all these years, and in the years before she left and before she moved away, I could knock on her door, have a chat with her for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours about how and why she used to look out for me when I was a kid. The reason was very simple. She knew the stresses, the struggles and the pain I used to go through on a daily basis at my house. She'd keep an eye out, she'd keep looking out, for the simple reason she never wanted any harm to come to me. That, by the way, is the house of my science teacher, which is weird. Imagine being that close to the teacher from the school. But this road holds so many memories. It's a neighbourhood watch area, so you'd have barbecues, you'd have your friends, and it may look like nothing now, but in the height of summer, us kids used to be out here 24/7 from like 10 in the morning right the way through until the time the sun went down in the evening. And the best thing is, right up there, you go straight in the forest. What could be better? Could literally be at the train station where our opening credits were filmed earlier on. Yeah, can be there in less than 20 minutes. So from here, jump on a train, potentially within an hour and a half, you're in the centre of London. That's 51 miles away, folks. Tell me this is not the best place in the world? I think it could be. There may not be a beach, there may not be any strapping beautiful people walking around. Most of them are quite old around here. But guess what? This was my home, and this really was my life. Let's go to the final chapter. Stop. So you join us now here at Rowledge First School, as it was when I was a kid back in the early 90s. However, it's now a C of E primary school based in the village of Rowledge here in Hampshire. I was in this school for approximately 3 years, and as I've just been talking to the very lovely head teacher, when I was here things were very, very different. Obviously the layout was completely different, and may I say, I was a horrendous child. However, back then, with the issues I was facing at home, the support wasn't really there. However, nowadays, from speaking to the head teacher this afternoon, things are very, very different. But this school was incredible. It was literally located within about a 3-mile radius of my home address. You can even get here through walking through the forest, the gate of which is still there to this very day. So it was a massive, massive achievement and privilege to be able to come to you guys live from this school, literally at 4 to 5 on a Monday afternoon after the school day has finished. This was an incredible school, and I'm very grateful to the teachers, head teachers, even though she was proper strict with me, because in my very final year she allowed me to finally be involved with the school nativity. I'd improved that much through that year. That was my one thing I was allowed to do that I wanted to do my entire school life. So as most kids are in a nativity from day one, I was only in the nativity for year 3. So there's so much more to come, ladies and gents. Join us in our next section as we go to my primary school and then followed by the secondary school, where things really did take an underwhelming turn for the worse. But this is Rowledge. If you get a chance to bring your kids here, I recommend you do it, because it's changed amazingly for the better. Thank you. So, like we just mentioned at my school over the road, this is indeed St James's Church here in Rowledge, where I was allowed in year 6 to perform in my very first ever school nativity, and it happened right here in a church that looks very similar to that one of the Vicar of Dibley. Is there a comparison? Probably not, because that was filmed in Romsey, not right here. However, Romsey, Rowledge kind of sound the same. But yeah, take a look at this beautiful church. Absolutely gorgeous. Now, join us on a very short journey from here to my primary school, and of course we'll then finish off at my secondary school down the road in Recklesham. Let's go. So my friends, this is St Peter's C of E Primary School, as you can see from the sign behind me, where I was here from 1993 right up until 1996. Again, was I a good kid? Absolutely not. I was a little tearaway. However, one positive place from here, again, final year of school, finally made it into school play, playing Toto in the Wizard of Oz at the age of year 6. This school is now a complete primary school, taking people from the age of reception right up until year 6, and they'll then go to the secondary school, most likely behind you, right down the hill there at Weydon, if you'd like to look at that one. Well done. Come back. This school was built in the early 1900s and has been here ever since. And to be fair, even now, the layout hasn't changed that much. The teachers are completely different. There's still a couple that were here when I was a child, over 20 odd years ago for me. But St Peter's was an amazing school. I used to love doing the swimming lessons. They were incredible. And you know what? For a primary school, it was incredibly supportive. We'll see you guys at my secondary school very, very soon. Ciao. So finally we come to the last place of education, Weydon School here in Farnham, where I was here from 1996 until 2001. It was in 1997, however, that this place really did become a home from home. I may have been kicked out by my parents, but the teachers here really made the biggest positive influence anyone could possibly hope to have. Whether it be from a head of year, a head teacher, or even your own form tutor, this really was a place where you could feel safe, rewarded, and truly looked after. So like I said, ladies and gents, this place really was a home from home. It was the only real place after being put into foster care, after leaving my parents, which is literally only 8 miles away from here, where it really was a home from home. We're now going to take you all the way through the whole process of my end of my school career. It's the only place whereby teachers really would nurture you, where they'd properly make you go for your full potential 24/7. Where my own head of year turned round to me and was like, listen dude, I know you're struggling with your maths. I also do maths as well. And I'm like, mate, you're a PE teacher. He goes, yeah, but I also do maths as well. I do maths tuition. And literally for an hour, once a week, he would take me to one side and give me an hour's worth of maths tuition free of charge. Where another head of year broke the news to me in 2001 that my own grandmother had died, courtesy of my actual parents ringing up the school and saying, look, this has happened, maybe you should tell him. And of course, she took me to one side, nurtured me, protected me, helped me through that very, very, very difficult stage, and as such allowed me to be less than favourable when it comes to some lessons whereby I'll just be a bit of a jerk. So if you're struggling at school, if you really are having issues with lessons, or you're really having problems at home, if you've got a school like this, guys, I highly recommend anyone watching, speak to your teachers, speak to your head of year, your head of house, or whatever, because you never know exactly what that person could do for you, or what that school could do for you, or how much they could nurture you, how much they could help you and assist you later on. Honestly, if I had the chance to come back here as a kid and have my whole school life again, I wouldn't change a thing. Yeah, I might have changed my house environment, I may have changed my family environment, but one thing I'd never change is the love, support, respect, integrity and immense compassion that this place gave me from day one. Admittedly, I was a horrendous child, but guess what? when you're going through the care system, all you need is that little bit of nurture, that little bit of compassion, that little bit of integrity. Stay tuned, folks, as we go on to the final section of today's show. But listen, check out this school. It's definitely an amazing place. So my best friend's house is literally right over there. Sadly, they've now moved out. But now, folks, have a little journey of my journey from here to my house before we continue. Here we go. So, you've just seen the street I grew up on and the house where I lived when I was a little boy. At the very start of my adoption way back in 1990. But this, my friends, is Lodge Pond. Why are we here? It's a good question. One, it's in the centre of a forest, but secondly, and most importantly, when I was just 6 years old, I had a massive row with my mum and ran away to this very, very, very location. As I move out of the way right now, you'll get to see why. And stop. Why? Why have you brought me here? My personal hell. For those of you who don't know, this place is literally like a second home, right? We literally spend at least half of my holidays in this very garden centre just so my mother could buy either a pot or a plant. Or she'd buy a plant to go in a pot, or a pot to go in a plant, or it was a nightmare. I'm really peed off that you guys brought me here. What the Ugh. So you may recall in a previous video we talked about sweet Fanny Adams, who died at the age of 8 years old. She's buried right there. However, the street that I grew up on is literally just here. To the point, my bedroom window practically overlooked not only her grave, but the whole cemetery where she was buried. Now you think that's scary? Yeah, after being in this house for literally 3 weeks and somebody dies. Yeah. Not me, obviously. I'm not a ghost. I'm not sweet Fanny Adams. But in that very extension, right there, just make out the apex of the roof. My fucking foster mum's mum died. And no, I'm not joking. Now can you see why school was much more acceptable to be there than to be around here? No thanks. Let's go. So, for those of you who are still with us, thank you very much indeed for joining us on that little time lapse from my parents' house up to my auntie's. The date was September the 10th, 1997. It was 5:35 in the evening, and by the time we got up here, it was practically like now, almost pitch black. So, why was that? Well, because I was a belligerent child. I believed that I knew best more than anyone else. My parents threw me out. It's that simple. And this was the time when my school really did come up trumps. They were there to offer the support and really fought the local council in order to keep me in this school where I was comfortable, bearing in mind I just started year 8. Imagine that. 12 years old, just started a brand new school year, and you got to adjust to a life away from the family, the only family you've ever known. So how long was I here for? About 4 months. From September right the way through until February, where I then moved into another foster placement. Annoyingly, there was a school right behind that foster placement, and again the county council really tried to push me to go and join that school, because we are literally about to leave here, because apart from anything else, that dog that's barking in the background is really starting to do my head in. So there's a lot more I could talk about being here, but I don't want to get done for killing a dog. Killing a duck in Inverness was bad enough, I don't want to do a dog at the same time. But folks, on a serious note, we'll now go to the house that I lived in foster. So ladies and gentlemen, this is where the story ends, right here in Neatham, where I finally moved into supported lodgings at the age of 16 with the support of social services. I was working full time at Sainsbury's in Albion at the time, and moved here just because I was belligerent and thought I knew best. So I was here right up until just before my 18th birthday, when I had moved to Manchester for the final part of my life, which basically goes from the age of 18 up until now, which will of course be another video for another time. But this is where we actually finish the story. Unfortunately, we can't show you the exact house. The time lapse kind of finished at that place, but due to the time of night it's now, can't really be knocking on people's doors saying, hey, can I film your home? Because I don't appreciate that very much indeed. So here we are, a tiny little sleepy hollow in the middle of nowhere, and currently you can't even see me, I don't think. That's better. A sleepy hollow in the middle of nowhere, quite literally. A busy road to one side, nothing but green grass and fields the other. So join me for part 2 in a couple of months' time, when we'll be live from Manchester and move all the way down to the Midlands where we are nowadays, with everything else in between. This has been Linden TV. Remember to continue sharing and commenting on videos. Try and get us up to 100 subscribers by the time we go on the road show in July. As I promise you, it'll be immense if you do that. And Lindenians, remember, Linden TV. Miss it, miss out.